This is a little bit more of a serious conversation that I'm having with you. If you've gone through the module and you've saw the videos, you saw the training, you saw all that stuff, I want you to know that I'm proud of you, number one, that you did it. Hopefully you learned a great deal. I paid tribute to my success in the field 100% to those types of sessions, those types of fact-finding meetings with clients, the ability to learn how to do this DIME analysis. DIME is where I sell. When I'm doing my DIME analysis, that's where I learn and uncover the needs. However, getting into a DIME analysis, you've got to be able to tap into the emotional side of it. So rather than, reading it and such or typing it, I figured I'd do it this video to help you understand how you bring about the DIME analysis. Okay. Yes, it can be very technical, right? DIMEL, debts, income, mortgage, education. It can be. However, there's an emotion side to it. Okay. I uncover the facts in my DIME analysis. In my meeting, I'm trying to build rapport. I'm trying to sell myself as an agent. I want to show them that I actually care. That's enormous to me. That's enormous to me. And so when I do the DIME analysis, this is how I bring it up. And the way I'm going to do it with you right now is the way I want you to learn to do it with your clientele, okay, with your prospects in hopes of them becoming a clientele. If I'm talking to a husband and wife, here's the scenario I'll give you, right? I'm going to say to them, let's say the husband's John, wife is, Jennifer, right? I'll say, listen, John, for a moment, I just want you to forget the numbers. Just forget the numbers, forget, the concept of insurance or anything like that. Okay. Today is, August 17th, right? It's August 17th today. Dude. Let's just talk the story for a moment. Okay. If something was to happen to you this afternoon, heaven forbid, right? Something happens to you and you don't make it home, but you and I had a conversation earlier in the day. And because of that conversation, I now have to knock on your wife's door. I got to knock on Jennifer's door and I got to tell her that you're no longer here. August 17th of 2021, you're no longer here. Can you do me a favor and tell me exactly what you would want me to tell her that you made sure you left behind and protected because of the conversation that you and I are having right now? And before you answer, John, let me tell you what my clients tell me. My clients tell me that they'd want to make sure they leave their family in a debt-free world. Pay off all the debts. Don't worry about that stuff any longer. Start fresh. They tell me that they want to replace their income for a 5, a 10, and 18-year period, and maybe until the youngest is 18 years of age. Why? Because, John, your paycheck is what allows for the family to survive and exist. And so if you're not here, that paycheck needs to be replaced for a period of time, right? They tell me that they want to pay off the house, this lovely home that you're in. They want to pay off the house. And if you're renting this house, they say to me, listen, I would love to leave my family with a paid for house. So here's the dollar amount. Here's a home I'd love to leave my family with so they no longer have to rent. They don't got to worry about a mortgage. It's covered. They tell me that if they have children, they want to make sure that each of the kids has a chance at going to college, whether it's a 4-year, 6-year, 8-year program. They say, if I was here, I'd help them. If I'm not here, it's still equally as important. And the last thing they tell me is that they'd like to leave behind a legacy. They say, listen, if I replace my income, that covers the bills. If I pay off the debt, that covers the past. If I cover education, that's what I do for my kids. But I still want to leave a legacy, something in my name behind, either for a relative, like a mom, a dad, a brother, maybe a church group, a charity group, or maybe even your own significant other. So my question to you is this, John. Without giving me the numbers, tell me the story. If something happened to you today, this very day, you didn't make it home, and I got to be the guy to knock on the door and talk to your wife, Jennifer, what would that story sound like? Now pause. If you notice, there's a different tonality in me right now from the other videos you guys have seen. The videos you usually see of me, I'm excited, I'm ready to go. This is a very serious conversation. I'm willing to look at the person square in the eyes. I'm also willing to bring them into the reality that they have to face their mortality if something happened today. I also don't want them to think about the numbers. I don't want them thinking, I want $500,000, I want $1 million. People don't know how much insurance they need until they actually tell them the story. Now, what I just did there is a DIME analysis, but in the form of a question. Debt, income, mortgage, education, legacy, DIMEL, right? Now, if you get really good at this, what you're going to get is this. With husbands and wives together, you're going to get this. Wow. It's It's a tough question. To face your own mortality is a tough question, especially around your loved ones. That's why you want the loved ones there. But you also get to read the psychology of them too. You can see which one's analytical and thinking about the numbers, which one's emotional and thinking about the value of what it does. There's an analytics to it, right? The emotional value person doesn't care if it's term insurance or permanent. The analytical person, the numbers person is going to care more about the cash accumulation, right? They're going to be thinking more on the permanent side. That's okay. I'm not saying to lean one over the other. I'm saying you need both. You need the emotion because emotion creates urgency. Emotion creates peace of mind. You need the analytical because that's the person that's going to look at the numbers and say, listen, we're broke as a joke. We can only do term insurance, or no, we've got the money to invest. I want to make some money, right? You need both. If you only have one person in the meeting, you're missing out. If you only have, right? So you need both. You need both. You need to have that conversation. And when John starts telling you the story, that's when you take out your fact finder. Okay. That's when you take out the fact finder. That's when you start gathering the notes. When they tell you their debts, fill out the debt section. When they tell you the income, fill out the employment section. When they tell you about their mortgage, fill out the mortgage and the assets. When they tell you about the education, fill out the kids' information. When they say about the legacy, that's typically going to be extended family members. That's for referrals. And then when you're done with one person, you go to the next. Jennifer, let me ask you a question. If the tables are turned and you don't make it home today, now I'm knocking on the door of John, and John's now a single father, and he's got to figure out a way to take care of the kids and work. What would your story sound like? A lot of times they'll tell you it's the same. Just adjust a little bit of the numbers, right? Adjust the income, maybe add in some dollars for a babysitter, because John's probably going to work. He's going to need a caregiver, whatever it is. But you need to do that and figure out what that person's number is. However, I'm doing it as a video because I want you to understand this needs to be an emotional connection. So now I'm going to sidebar for a minute. I'm going to talk directly to you. You're looking to work inside of the FMO of TKO Financial Network. I want you to understand something. This analysis that you've been doing on yourself, it's important you get something in place for yourself. I'll tell you why. You're going to build relationships with the people that work here. You're going to build relationships with me. You're going to build relationships with your certified trainers, your uplines, your downlines. You will build relationships. This right here is a relationship that I built. This right here is an individual that I built a relationship with. His name is Eddie Tragus. He came on board with me December 31st of 2018. Okay. January of 2019, right? Less than a month in, he took out a policy for himself, right? And he took it out because he wanted to make sure he protected his daughter. And he was a little bit like, his budget didn't allow. He took out a very low term insurance policy, by the way, $100,000 term policy. He's in his 50s. His daughter's independent, living on her own. Nobody financially relies on his income, but he wanted to make sure he left something behind for his daughter. And he took it out. And his first comment to me that he said was, listen, my budget's a little bit tight. Maybe I could wait till later. And I said to him this, I said, Eddie, don't wait till later because you don't know when that time's going to be. You don't know when that time's going to be. And I don't want to be a hypocrite. I've already gone out to the field with you a few times. I've gotten to know your significant other. I've gotten, not your significant other. I've gotten to know your family. I've gotten to know your daughter. I don't want to be a hypocrite. If something happens to you, I got to look at them in the face and say, wow, we were busy helping families, but we didn't protect you. And he said, okay, you're right. Beginning of February, he quits his job, not by my recommendation, but he quits his job, comes on board full time because he's ready to really kill it and make it happen. And he says to me, I need to cancel this insurance because if I'm going to go full time, I have a little bit of money saved, but I want to reduce all my expenses as possible. I said, Eddie, you can't afford not to have this coverage in place. And the meaning of the story is this. His policy was approved and funded and in force mid-February on a Monday. Sorry, not even mid-February. I'm sorry. It was approved and enforced first week of February on a Monday. On a Thursday, he passed away. Literally, he was approved on Monday, enforced on a Thursday. Just 3-4 days later, he passed away. Still in the middle of training him. We had just gotten back from this massive convention. He was excited to get up and going. He had his license. He just got his contract numbers, and he passed away. I had just spent the weekend with his father, his mother, his daughter. I still see it on Facebook stories because I remember I went live. He played guitar and played with his dad, and they played he played amazing guitar. And I didn't know, and he didn't know that moment, that last time he played guitar with his dad was going to be the last time he ever played guitar with his dad. And the last time he spent, time with his daughter, that was going to be the last time. So why do I say this to you? Get something in place, please. I can understand if you're here right now and you're like, man, the budget's tight. Get something in place. I don't care if what you're looking for is a permanent policy. That's what you like, that's what you value. Listen, get it later, but get something in place. Insurance costs, 20 bucks, 30 bucks if you're on a real tight budget. Like, let's be honest. We spend that kind of money on a weekend unexpectedly. We spend that money sometimes going to Starbucks 3 times. Get something in place. Now do the right analysis on yourself. And if you've got the discretionary dollars, get it. Get it. Don't think about, oh, but I don't know if I want to get a policy on myself. Who's going to write it? Your upline's going to write your policy. Do you know why? Because it's controlled business if you write your own. Insurance companies scrutinize it a lot more. They don't advance you the commissions. And one thing our FMO doesn't permit is for people to write their own business because of the risk of chargebacks. If you're getting a policy in place, it's because you genuinely find the value in the policy, not because of the commissions that it could potentially make. Because I've seen some massive horror stories, and I got to protect the company. I got to protect the VP. I got to protect the agencies. I've seen horror stories where people write their own business. They collect the big commission, and then they let that policy lapse 2 months later. Now all of a sudden the insurance companies are coming after the dollars. They don't pay the dollars. And if the person doesn't pay the dollars within a 6-month period, that debt rolls up to the upline. And so I want to protect the company. I want to protect uplines. I want to protect the agencies. I want to protect you from your downlines doing the same thing. That's the reason. If that's the question you have, like, why can't I write my own business? It's because it's controlled business. They scrutinize it a lot more. And because we're trying to prevent those chargeback issues. If people are getting policies, it's because 100% they see the benefit and value in having it. Or the marketing aspect of making sure they have something in place, because you can't sell shoes barefooted. I tell you this story with my heart. I tell you this story because this is a real story. I tell you this story because I don't want to build relationships with people who don't have the ability, the decency to protect themselves for their family members, to protect their family members. Never mind protect themselves. Yes, protect yourself from living benefits. I mean, listen, living benefits protects you. If something happens to you and you can't work and you're in a hospital and you're going through some medical conditions like cancers or chemo, you're going through stuff, you need a nurse to take care of you, you're protecting yourself. You're protecting your family as well. But those relationships that we're about to build, I don't want to be a hypocrite and tell your family, well, we were teaching them insurance, but we didn't get them insurance in place. Have something in place for yourself. That's why you're doing this, to learn, but also to protect yourself. And again, if you have coverages in place, beautiful. No one's knocking you for it. Let's compare them. If what you have is better than anything we have to offer, then keep it. I've had that from time to time. Clients, agent of mine has had a policy for 15 years. It's such an old policy that it just doesn't make sense to get rid of. It's the most cost-effective solution for them. But there's been other times that we find the client, the agent, a much better policy than what it is that they had. So sometimes it's because they didn't know the types of policies that existed and they thought they had something that they didn't. And now that they're getting educated, they're realizing, man, there's better things out there. Stress test your plan and understand something. If you're going to be a builder, what you do right, your team will do 50% of it. And what you do wrong, your team will do 100% of it. So if you're going to be a big agency building, you want to make sure your agents are covered, protected, so that you don't have to have that difficult conversation one day. You got to make sure you have something in place. You got to make sure you have something in place, right? You got to make sure. And the same rule applies. Their uplines will write their business. They won't write their own business. That's something we go across the board with, guys. I want to thank you for watching this video. I want to thank you for listening to my heart. I want to thank you for understanding. I'm a 38-year-old man. I'll be 38 tomorrow, okay? I've seen 19-year-olds pass away unexpectedly. I've seen people in their mid-30s pass away unexpectedly. I've seen people in their 50s pass away unexpectedly. Your day, whenever God comes knocking, you don't know when it is. You don't know when it is. Everybody wants life insurance 5 minutes before they pass away. Unfortunately, they just don't know when that time is. Get something in place. Get something in place. Protect yourself, protect your family. Be an advocate to the industry as you go out and help families. Have a good one. Be blessed. I'll see you.